The race for the Mask of Life is the ideal entry point into the Bionicle theme, the brick-built culmination of the Voyanui story arc, and one of the most beloved Bionicle sets. Okay, fine. You want to know my real motivation? Today is June 22nd, 2026, which nearest I can tell is the closest thing we have to an official 20th anniversary of the greatest song in LEGO history. The Piraka Rap.
Yo, Piraka!
Since I feel obligated to pay homage to that masterpiece, and since this is the closest thing we had to a spaceship in that entire year, we're going to use it to answer that all-important question, is it swooshable? Welcome to Swooshability Index.
Here's the introduction.
Here we believe that spaceships, or whatever these are built to be swooshed, and that the greatest honor you can give to a ship is to swoosh it. But since
The gang on the loose, nothing you could do.
that also means evaluating each ship for swooshability using the completely unpatented, but also completely gangsta swooshability index.
So what makes a spaceship swooshable? Swooshability can basically be crystallized into three main components: optics, grip, and stability.
Let's crash headlong into each of those and see how the ships in the race for the Mask of Life measure up. Before we get into the index, I have to acknowledge that there are two ships in this set, one for the Anika and one for the Piraka.
No, we aren't raiding the gate.
I'll consider them individually, but score them jointly for simplicity's sake. First up is optics, or more simply, how good do they look? We'll start with how they look touched down. The Anika ship appears to be a catamaran, and I've always liked that shape. It isn't too visually busy, and it looks relatively cohesive, though the color scheme isn't very inspiring. I'd give it a 1 by itself. The Piraka ship, on the other hand, oh dear. This thing is a mess. Between the half-hearted pontoons, the incomplete-looking deck, or the haphazard Bionicle weapons stuck to it, I fear this thing not only gets a 0, it drags the whole set down there as well. 0 points. Once we pick them up, we get to see how they look in flight.
And it immediately becomes clear that these weren't made to be seen from the bottom. The Anika ship isn't awful, just structural, so it would get a 1, but the Piraka ship not only has a lot of empty space, but while the top is overbearing, the bottom is basically bare and monochrome. So once again, the Piraka drag us down to 0 for in-flight optics.
Next up is grip, or the critical question, where do we hold them?
The most natural place to hold the Anika ship is in the center, just behind the Piraka foot. There aren't really any other good options, which is unfortunate, because this is also the part of the ship that moves with an action feature we'll explore more later. So it's not particularly stable, and certainly not functional if you want to fly and operate the gear at the same time. The Piraka ship doesn't fare that well either, with the best option ending up as a sideways grip with fingers along the bottom, with the thumb next to the poop deck.
Which was a term I definitely already understood and didn't have to sheepishly look up for this video.
The place I would rather hold the Piraka ship at the stern, unfortunately, is exactly where the controls for the claw play feature are found, and it is not compatible with a good grip. 1 for the Anika and 1 for the Piraka, so we total 1 point in grip comfort, though it's not a strong one.
Now, a good grip is highly dependent on hand size. And to find out how universal a grip this set has, we should probably measure it using a smaller hand as well, a child's hand. Thankfully, I happen to have a child's hand available. Thanks, child's hand.
The child's hand I consulted felt that the grip was going to stay in for however long it was being swooshed. The Piraka here were identified as the only delicate part of the ship, and both the Piraka and Anika ships were given 2 points each, for a total of 2 points in universality.
Next up is heft.
The Anika ship is about the right weight for a ship of its size, and possibly a bit lighter than expected given its wingspan. The Piraka ship feels more hefty comparatively, but I think that's due more to the grip position than the literal weight. Regardless, it doesn't fall outside of the realm of palatable. Both jointly and individually, I assign 1 point here.
Last in grip comes balance.
While the Anika ship has the bigger footprint, it actually has very good balance as well. Only a slight shift to my preferred grip allows you to balance without even closing the grip. That's pretty impressive. The Piraka ship has no such luck, however, and feels both front and side heavy. It's not heavy enough for that to make a huge difference, so I'm going to go 2 and 1 respectively, with a combined score of 1 in balance.
The last category is stability, or whether you can race for the Mask of Life without breaking them. First, we'll take a look at lift-off integrity. You can pick up both of these ships without taking particular care, and they stay together fairly well.
The only thing that I would mark down in this set is the Anika ship's gear function. It doesn't come apart, but if you pick it up in the wrong spot, it could pressure the axle in a way that, to be frank, only an AFOL would notice. It's a very minor nitpick, but this is the one place where the Piraka ship would get a 2, and the Anika only gets a 1. We'll give the set as a whole 1 point.
Next up is reorientability.
Oh no!
These ships are not so great at this for one main reason. Zamor spheres.
Rockin' in the street, that's a lot of heat.
Zamor sphere launchers are arguably the best projectile weapon in Bionicle, but they rely heavily on gravity to keep the sphere loaded properly.
I can't imagine anyone wanting to unload all their ammo anytime they feel like swooshing a ship, so it poses a problem anytime we dare to cross the 90-degree threshold. The Zamor problem is one thing, but each of these ships has an additional problem as well.
The Anika ship's main action feature is a gear-driven lift system for the central hull, which lifts to reveal a Zamor sphere storage area. It's fun, if gimmicky, but unfortunately has very shallow walls and big holes in the sides, even when completely closed. Which means even the gentlest swooshing is going to eject some good old antidermis on whatever unsuspecting Matoran might be below.
Again, you could make the case that you could remove the spheres before swooshing, but my counter-argument to that is that if you have to modify the ship before swooshing it, it's probably not built for it.
The Piraka ship isn't quite as bad as the Anika ship here, but it still looks funny when reorienting, as the action features for the claws and the Zamor sphere launcher kind of run wild. I would give the Anika a 0 and the Piraka a 1, but jointly 0.
The last measurement we'll take is the ability to hang G's. To quote the most relevant song I know on the subject, you can try, but why? You know you're gonna lose.
The only difference between these ships' struggle with reorienting and their struggle with hanging G's is how far and how fast you have to chase the Zamor spheres, which go flying.
The moving parts on the Piraka ship also feel shaky, even though it doesn't seem like they really want to fly apart.
So I'm going to round out this whole business with another 0 here. So let's put everything together now and get our grand total, keeping in mind that we're taking the set as a whole, not just one ship. We scored 0 in optics, mainly due to the Piraka vessel being such a mess, and neither being designed for viewing from beneath. Our grip score was 5, which was generously sponsored by the child's hand, but we ended up with a measly 1 out of 6 in stability, which means the grand total swooshability index for the race for the Mask of Life is 6 out of 18. I officially rate this set not swooshable.
Oh, bully coming through.
But what ships are swooshable? Let me know in the comments what are your favorite ships to swoosh, or what sets you'd like to see me review next. Anyway, thank you for joining me today for this celebration of Bionicle's most ridiculous and sticky ad campaign, and for some serious swooshing. Now, go get yourself a spaceship and swoosh it.
This is Apollo Control. We're 10 minutes away from ignition and translunar injection.